We have Harvey, Irma, Maria, back-to-back major hurricanes that have caused billions of dollars in damage to the U.S. mainland, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands. So I want to talk about the long-term implications of these events on your wallet with business analyst and meteorologist Paul Walsh. Paul, always great to talk to you, but you know, we're a few days past now the landfall of Maria. What about price tag? What are we really looking at with all of these events now?
Well, it's still kind of early to get a precise number, Maria, but the estimates are that when you look at all three of these events combined, we're probably looking at over $200 billion in economic impact, which is, to put that into perspective, there was a study done by J.P. Morgan that looked at the last 50 years of hurricane impacts, and the accumulated impact is about $500 billion. So we're looking at getting 50% of that just within the last 4 weeks or so. So the impacts obviously are going to be significant.
Paul, it seems like the price tag never goes down. It always goes up. Is this just going to be the future?
You know, Mike, I think in short, yes. And the reason is, especially for hurricane impact, is the fact that there's literally tens of millions of additional people living in areas that can be impacted by hurricanes. Number two, the sea levels have risen. This isn't that they're rising. The sea levels have risen. So we have more sea level, more ocean water to cause impact. And number three, the temperatures have warmed. And so it is warmer. So there's more energy, there's more water, and more people in the way. Therefore, that risk is continuing to increase.
And that means a lot more businesses and government organizations need to prepare, right?
That's exactly right. And, you know, Maria, last week I was in New York. New York City held Climate Week last week, and I spoke at an event that was really all about creating resilience, leveraging technology to be able to deal with, which really baked in the cake already. The fact that the climate has changed to the point where we've got increased exposures, and I think the really encouraging thing is that more and more businesses, more and more governments, even especially local and state governments, are taking this really, really seriously. And I think when we look back on the impacts of these past three storms and how sort of business and government adapts, we'll see this as kind of almost a trigger mechanism to really sort of accelerate the fact that we need to be better prepared and better resilient to be able to deal with what is already happening and is going to continue to happen.
Paul, just a couple seconds left. Maybe we're already seeing that play out. You know, you look at the impacts of Irma in South Florida, strong building codes there, not a lot of structural damage, but then you take a look at the Virgin Islands or Puerto Rico, totally different story.
That's exactly right, Mike. And there's a lot going on in the New York area on the back of Sandy to help create more resilient communities. So those are the kind of things that we're going to be seeing over the next 10, 15, 20 years as the realities of what we're facing from a climate perspective set in. And we really need to build both businesses and governments and communities that are more resilient.
All right, Paul Walsh, as always, great to have your take on these issues.
Big issue for sure, $1 billion issue for sure.